Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of English with Aziza. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a meeting where someone suggested an idea and immediately you thought to yourself something like, my gosh, I don't think that is the best solution? So you basically thought to yourself, but you did not share what you think with everyone. Maybe you saw a problem. Maybe you had a different idea. Maybe you completely disagreed. But instead of saying something, you stayed quiet. Not because you agreed, but because you weren't sure how to disagree professionally. And honestly, this actually happens to a lot of employees because disagreeing can feel uncomfortable. You're not just speaking English in a meeting, you are challenging an idea. And many employees actually worry about things like, for example, what if I sound rude in a meeting? What if people think I am difficult? What if my manager disagrees with me? What if my English doesn't sound professional enough? So instead of sharing their opinion, they stay silent. What is interesting is that professional communication is not about always agreeing. In fact, healthy discussion needs different opinions. Companies solve problems. Why? Because people think differently. Projects improve. Why? Because people challenge ideas. Teams become stronger because people bring different perspectives. So, disagreement is not the problem. So, what is the problem? The problem is how we disagree. One mistake many employees actually make is thinking they only have two options, either agree completely or say you are wrong. But professional communication sits somewhere in the middle. You can actually disagree while still being respectful. You can challenge an idea while still supporting the person. And that is what good workplace communication is all about. One thing that actually helps is shifting your mindset. How? Instead of thinking like, I disagree with this person, you can shift your mindset by thinking like, I am helping this person improve the discussion. So that small shift actually changes everything because now you are not creating conflict, you are contributing another perspective. And that is exactly what meetings are for. Another thing I have noticed is that confident professionals rarely attack ideas directly. So instead, they explore possibilities. Like, for example, they don't say something like, this will not work. No, no, no. They will say something like, could we also consider another option? So, see it here? So, they are using could we also. Could we also add another opinion? Could we also add another tool? Could we also add plan B? Something like that. So they will not say, no, this idea will not work or this plan will not work. They will not say that. Because if they say this idea will not work, they are kind of attacking the person, but they are in a meeting and they don't want to have any attacks. So what they say it in a different way. They need to shift the structure. They will say something like, "Your idea is perfect, but we can also add something else." Or could we also add something else? Could we also consider another plan? something like that. All right. So they will never say something like, that is a bad idea. They will never say that. They will say something like, I am wondering if there might be another approach. I am wondering if we could add another tool. I am wondering if we can change something. So, you see the difference? The message is similar, but the communication is much more professional. Furthermore, a lot of employees and employers believe that they need advanced business English vocabulary to sound professional. But that is usually not true. Why? Because professional English is often simple, clear, respectful, and direct. That's it. And honestly, most people appreciate thoughtful disagreement in the workplace because if everyone agrees all the time, meetings become less useful, important risks get missed, problems remain hidden, better solutions never appear. So, speaking up can actually help your team. Another reason people avoid disagreeing is fear of conflict, because they think that disagreement automatically creates tension, but professional discussions are not arguments, they are conversations. The goal is not to win, actually. The goal is to find the best solution. And once you stop treating disagreements like a battle, it becomes much easier to speak. One thing that can help is listening carefully before responding, because many colleagues focus so much on what they are going to say that they stop listening. But strong communicators listen first, they understand the idea, then they build on it, then they offer another perspective. That's why their disagreement sounds constructive instead of confrontational. And here is something important to remember. You don't need to disagree with everything, and you don't need to speak in every meeting. But when you genuinely have an idea that could help, don't let fear keep you silent. Your perspective matters, your experience matters, your observations matter, and sometimes the idea you are afraid to share is exactly what the team needs to hear. So, if you want to become more confident in meetings, stop thinking about disagreements as something negative. Think of disagreements as contributions. Think of disagreements as collaboration. Think of disagreements as helping the discussion move forward. Because professional communication is not actually about agreeing with everything, it is about participating honestly and respectfully. And that is how confidence grows, one conversation at a time. If you have ever stayed quiet in a meeting because you didn't know how to disagree professionally, I really hope this episode helped you see that your ideas and opinions are valuable. Remember, disagreement doesn't have to create conflict. When done respectfully, it can actually improve communication, strengthen teamwork, and lead to better discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more episodes about business English, workplace communication, English speaking confidence, meetings, discussions, and professional communication skills. And if you know someone who struggles with speaking up at work, share this episode with them. It might actually help them find their own voice in their next meeting. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with me. I wish you a wonderful day and I will see you in the next episode. Have a great day and take care. Bye bye.